Yeah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي اشدد به أزري ويشرك في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وارنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وارنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه اللهم أنت ربي لا إله إلا أنت خلقتني وأنا عبدك وعلى وعدك وعهدك ووعدك ما استطعت وأعوذ بك من شر ما صنعت وأبوء لك بنعمتك علي وأبوء بذنبي فاغفر لي فإنه لا يغفر الذنوب إلا أنت آمين ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome everyone. We will inshallah continue the 23rd word that we studied last week. That started to study the subject last week, and we understood that how belief is very, very important, that human beings are created for this purpose, to believe in their reality, the reality of their existence, and act in the world accordingly as they understand the purpose of their being brought into this world. That's the verse we studied, an introduction to the subject last week. But we will listen to Anne, our friend Anne. Always she is ready to do it with pleasure. Introduced what we have done last week and what we are going to do. So Anne, this is your turn now.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome.
Well, actually, Fariha can speak better than I can about the beautiful diagram of the four elements that interconnect to form our, I guess you could say, our belief system, which is that human beings is equivalent and complements the universe, which in turn is equivalent and complements the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, which in turn complements and equals the Quran. She drew four concentric circles. Her illustration had four concentric circles, and each circle um, um, interchanged these among each other. I can't really explain it very well, showing how they were all equal and complementary. And I actually should have commented on this last week, but didn't. And that is that this is a very interesting, I don't know if Fairy Hawk can pull it up or not, but the four circles, it's a very interesting way of explaining this, because often when we explain interrelationships among different elements, we use something called a Venn diagram. I think some of us are familiar with the Venn diagram. The Venn diagram shows overlapping commonalities. So if there was an A and a B and a C, there'd only be one small part that would be shaded where they overlap. But in this case, you can't do that because all are equivalent to the other. I don't know if I'm making any sense at all, but I just found those Fahrenheit's diagram to be extremely useful and powerful explanation of how these four elements are interrelated. And that's what we talked about for the most part last week. We only started the 23rd word um uh with the Surah 95 ayahs 4 through 6. We only got that far. And that the 23rd word will actually be a commentary on these four ayahs. I will say that we did talk about in detail each one of these ayahs, where, for example, where it says, "Indeed, we have created man in the most excellent of patterns." The "we" is capitalized because it refers to all the qualities of God, not just one. It's collective. And we also talked about how man is in fact conscious of these qualities, because God has given us the tools in order to be conscious of all his qualities. And if we don't use them, we are essentially just a lump of flesh and bone. So with that, I'll just say that therefore there's no excuse because we have these tools, our senses, our feelings, our our what the universe can show us is we have no excuse not to know not to get to know the qualities of our creator. And so with that, I'll just stop.
Excuse me, I am copy pasting the link Feriha gave us.
Oh
But
yeah.
why? Yeah. So I think we should copy paste and later on get in contact with this original uh, diagrams and
Yeah, I think so. They're
yeah, it is a very very important. Okay, how are we title it? All right, four elements.
unless Fahrenheit has them available and can do a screen share.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
here's
can
the
do that.
link. It's right here. It's right here. Fahrenheit
Yeah.
sent it in chat, so we can click on that.
Now, Feriha put it there, and I
Right.
want to ask Feriha to really summarize this very, very important diagram, extremely important to my understanding. So it solves lots of problems, inshallah. If Feriha doesn't mind, just summarizing it in a few minutes what has happened, and also I can try to.
Well, why don't you screen share it?
Yeah, I will do that.
Assalamu alaikum. That was a beautiful summary, actually.
It
Oh
was
no, are you? No, 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 no.
And I'm glad now you brought this up because I think we all need reminders, repetition, and there must be another R. Yeah, because otherwise, week goes by and
Let's
with the
wait and think
mundane.
about it.
Yeah, so I'm glad, alhamdulillah. I think we need to keep repeating and reminding each other, inshallah.
Brother Ali, can you scroll down to those four circles?
no,
Oh, you
now,
can't.
yeah.
Okay, never mind. Yeah, there they are, right there.
But I made Feriha co-host. She can share her and really summarize it as she wants.
Yeah, we can all see
Oh,
it right now.
I think this is good because I'm not in front of a computer right now, so I'm on my phone. But inshallah, we can follow through with this.
Yeah, just
Um,
tell me to go up and down. I will follow, inshallah.
okay. So pretty much, I mean, we're all given existence here. We're the human beings. So we start with ourselves in any capacity. As a human being, I find myself interacting with the universe, and I wonder, what do I do with my interactions? And definitely, as a human being, we need guidance in terms of how to journey in this universe, because we all are aware of the end goal, capital D, death. And within this journey, we all have various human needs. The most ultimate need is really eternal happiness, eternal satisfaction, eternal permanence of all our experiences. And so using the analogy of a student in a classroom, in a school, so the school is the universe, the student is us, the human being. They're in a classroom, which is also a nested form of the universe, and the teacher's there to guide. Hence the being need guidance in the form of a human being, hence the prophet. And how are the prophet or messenger inspired? It's really through the creator of the universe. So we all are very much connected, intertwined, interrelated. The universe equals to the human being, equals to the prophet, equals to the Quran, or the speech of God, if you will. Doesn't matter how you set up this equation, because all these elements are essentially equal. So you can start off with the universe if you want. The universe equals to the human being, equals to the Quran, equals to the prophet. Or you can start off with the prophet. Hey, when you're born, obviously your parents are like the first form of guidance for you. So you can start off with the prophet equals to the human beings, equals to the universe, equals to the Quran. So even I know we're right now just like touching upon it, but if we were really to deeply get into these elements, like really, what does it mean in my life? It's all interlinked. So hence, if we were to use a concentric circle, it's all the same. You cannot have the one without the other. You cannot have the universe without the human being. You cannot have the Quran or the speech of God without the prophet. Otherwise, if there's only the Quran, then my life as a human being become meaningless, because I need an exemplar. I need a practitioner of the speech of my creator in human form. And same thing, if there's no universe, the creation of the human being is meaningless, and vice versa. So we can do that with all the four elements. And it may seem a little theoretical, but I think that's, I'm glad Anne pointed it out earlier. Like we constantly need these reminders, repetition, so we can really assimilate that into our lives. So yeah, so those figures, the four different figures that are being shared on the screen, doesn't matter if you're starting off with the Quran or the human being or the universe or the prophet. Every element needs each other. They're complementing each other, and so you cannot separate one without the other. You need them all, four of them together. If that makes sense.
No, thank you very much. A beautiful summary, both. Both. Anne and Feriha, I appreciate them. And I can only say thank you very much. One thing that I would like to add, not add really, just summarize it as much as I understood. So if anybody starts reading the Quran, ignores these three elements my cursor points out here, then he cannot make sense of the Quran. That is very essential, how to read the sacred texts. If anybody looks at the universe, the prophet, and takes the Quran, but forgets about his human qualities, he cannot understand neither universe nor Quran nor prophet. He must put himself into the relationship of his understanding. As Fariha said, every part of these four elements are essential to understand the rest. They are all dependent on each other, complementary to each other, needing each other. So if anybody wants to understand the universe without using his human qualities, without using the message of the Quran and practical manifestation of the message of the Quran in the form of a human being represented by the prophets, then you cannot make sense of the universe. That's why materialists say the universe has no meaning. And also, if somebody wants to, I love Prophet, I am ready to die for him, etc., but doesn't really see the Prophet as to make sense of his mission without taking the universe into account, human feelings into account, and the Quranic message itself into account, then he cannot really appreciate the mission of the Prophet. Impossible. That is what we have to be careful about. What are we doing in this world? Are we really utilizing all these four elements at the same time in order to make sense of whatever our life is, whatever I believe in, and whatever the universe means to me? So they are all interrelated, intertwined. And the best side of this, also I understood from Fahrenheit's presentation, they are all needy of each other, but at the same time complementary of each other. That is the beauty of creation. So how is it related to our subject? And I can go back to our topic now here. We are going to talk about belief. Belief is not going to be discussed here why we should believe. No, belief will make sense in practical terms if we remember these diagrams. Because belief means connecting these four elements and seeing the essential needs of each other. I mean, this is the essential part of understanding the value of belief, which we are going to talk today, virtues of belief, not today in this section, virtues of belief. So virtues of belief will make sense if only we understand that I'm not only talking about my belief in my heart. No, no, no. I am talking about the reflection or relation of belief in my human beings, in the meaning of the universe in its existence, and also in prophetic message and what the owner of the universe communicates to me through his revelation. So we will understand that the belief is so valuable because belief puts me in connection with the rest of these four elements. It means, if you like, belief, it means really understanding and being convinced about this equality and also interconnectedness of these four elements. Each of them is as valuable of others. But we have to make sense of four of them as equally necessary for me in order to be satisfied in my belief. That is how I found it extremely essential matter to understand these four elements working together. So it is time now to read where we left off last week here. We studied the verse, I think, and also Anne pointed out that we are going to read the commentary on the verse we studied last week. So this is the commentary. If Anne doesn't mind, I would like to hear her voice.
Yes, we shall explain in 5 points only 5 of the virtues of belief out of thousands. First point. Through the light of belief, man rises to the highest of the high and acquires a value worthy of paradise. And through the darkness of unbelief, he descends to the lowest of the low and falls to a position fit for hell. For belief connects man to the all-glorious Maker. It is, in fact, this connection. Thus, man acquires value by virtue of the divine art and inscriptions of the dominical names which become apparent in him through belief. Unbelief severs the relation, and due to that severance, the dominical art is concealed. His value then is only in respect to the matter of his physical being. And since this matter has only a transitory, passing, temporary, animal life, its value is virtually nothing. We shall explain this mystery by means of a comparison.
Yeah. Now, the words, would you like to say anything? Your conclusion, what impression you got after reading this paragraph?
For me, you didn't underline it. You stopped the underlining, but for me, names which become apparent in him through belief. Okay, so names become apparent through belief, but unbelief severs the relation, and due to that severance, the dominical art is concealed. I love that part about due to the severance, the dominical art is concealed. It's that connects belief to the universe. If we don't have belief, then all the art in the universe will never become, will always be veiled. It'll never be unveiled. It'll always be concealed. The dominical art to me speaks to the universe. And if we don't have belief, then the universe, the dominical art, we can never ever see it. So for me, that was something that really struck me.
You want me to do this?
Yeah, there, right.
So unbelief severs the relation, and due to all that severance, the dominical art is concealed. It means if this welding factor of belief between four elements, if there is no belief, it means unbelief, then human being remains alone, meaningless, lonely being in the world, subject to death anytime may happen. Universe becomes a lump of matter, meaningless things, but something is happening strange, I don't know, that happened by itself like this, meaningless. So the people's feelings require security, and some people come up with their news that they have received the message explaining the purpose of existence of the universe as well as human beings. And that is their duty to deliver it, and they are delivering it. And they say, oh, I believe in it. I really understand that is true for me. My all of my feelings confirm it, and they practice it. They act accordingly. Being an example becomes these people are talking about nonsense. The prophets talking about, what are they talking about? Nothing to do with reality. The reality is here. I am alone, happen to be just suffer in this world so that I will die, because the news of death is always with me. No one can ignore the news of death. So I have to suffer and bear this burden of death disappearing from existence, although it is diametrically contradictory to my feelings that I don't want. I want full satisfaction, and no, I can get full satisfaction within the conditions of this universe. Despair, meaninglessness, fear of loneliness, and always losing one's whole being. And human beings become really, sometimes this author uses a wretched, the most wretched creature. Animals are happy. Plants are even more happier. But human beings are given so much value in their existence. If they don't appreciate these human values and reduce it to just biological activities or chemical reactions, ridiculous, and human feelings suffer. I mean, beyond imagination. That is why people are crazy to obtain the means of satisfaction, but materially, not really. It means having properties, maybe having money, but of course, you may be a billionaire, doesn't matter. You know you are going to die. All your billions in the bank account will be nothing for you. Nothing. You can eat only 1 or 2 plates of food. That's it. And people may applaud you, pay attention to you because you are a public figure, celebrities, or political leader. But when you die, it means nothing. You know that is just temporary. All the celebrities become despaired when they lose their fame. Why? They know one day they will lose it, even there while they are respected or taking notes of, but they know one day will come and no one will take care of it at all. No one will look at their face anymore when they get old. And when they die, that's it. Finish. So meaninglessness, unbelief, severes the relation within these 4 elements that's talk in terms of the diagrams we studied, well, summarized yesterday, but last week, sorry, we studied in detail, and our friend Feriha presented it perfectly. So dominical art is concealed where? In human being, in the universe, and also God's extra favor, his revelation and the mission of the prophet he employed and educated and presented to us. Here is the perfect man. You have to be consistent within yourself, together with the universe and together with my message, so that you will be happy without any constraints, any despair, any hopelessness. Oh, we have to fulfill our mission, and we have to use our feelings, love for the good actions. And also, God gave us the sense of hate for the wrong attitudes and ideas the people carry. But we don't really have anything to do with the body of the people, but their belief, their attitude, their behavior, and also their transgressions or doing something wrong. So we have to know what to do with our feelings, how to deal with our feelings. But these feelings should not be a means of torture for me. Yeah, should be the means of hope. Why? We know that I am created for a purpose, and the end of my life, I will be transferred, like everybody else will be transferred into another life forever. So those people who misused the trust given to them in order to be happy and hopeful with the future, they killed it as I believe severs the relationship. If you go back to the diagram again, we will see that unbelief cuts off these four categories or four encircled relationship between the universe and the and human being and the revelation from the creator and the representer of the revelation, which we call it a prophet, cuts the relationship. Universe becomes meaningless by itself. Human being becomes alone and waiting to be executed sooner or later, but definitely it will take place. And those people who claim that they are given message from the Creator, verbally explaining what we have to do, they become a crazy, mad, maybe magicians or something like that in their eyes. And their message becomes just a legend, as the Quran itself says. Those people who choose unbelief think that our message is a legend, the story. But they don't study, they don't really see it freely with no biased mind. That is why they accused the prophet, because the prophet disturbed their false, imaginary, just fabricated understanding of their being as a high status people. Of course, and prophets never had any problem with ordinary people. The problem is with the leaders or those people who think they are the elite of the society, although that is a self-appointed title. I am the elite because I have money. So what? You have money, it doesn't mean that you are a very virtuous human being. You are really utilizing your human feelings. That is just your own imagination. The prophet says, come on, who are you? You are like me, a creature being in need of everything, and you are ungrateful for what you have been given, you have no value at all, an ungrateful man. So how can you say that I am a good person? I am, you have to respect me when I am someone higher status than the others. You are the low state, you are in the low states of the other. Here we go. Then here we go, this what the Quran says, then sent him down to the laws of the law, in which case? Unbelief case. If a person cuts off their relationship with their creator, then God says, God sent him down to the laws of the law if they cut off. But of course, God creates according to my choice. So we have created, we talked about it, but it's very essential. We have created man in the most excellent of patterns. So if you don't appreciate it, if you cut off your relationship with the conscious creator, between you and your conscious creator, then you throw themselves down to the laws of the law. But God says, of course, this is your choice, but you cannot create. I create the results of your choices. That is why we created it. That is the way we do. So accordingly, take care of your freedom of choice. That is your responsibility. Accordingly, take care of your free will, what to choose. If I choose to cut my hand, God creates a bleeding hand. If I choose to, for example, cook a nice food and present it to my friends and to myself, of course, and God creates nourishment as a result of this, enjoyment as a result of this. So everything described in the Quran is from creational points of view. That's why he says, we sent him down to the laws of law. Not God not pushes you. You choose, he creates. You choose, he creates. So if we believe, it means if you see the connection between, the meaningful connection between all elements of existence, then what we do now, the most excellent pattern starts for experiencing the highest level of happiness in this world, pleasure in his existence. MashaAllah, this is very important as unbelief severs the relations and pointed out. Then corresponding note, let's do it in this way. The light of belief rises highest of the highest of the high. Unbelief severs the relation and goes down to the low of the lost in his feelings. He will experience it while living in this world. Oh, I think that's now I spoke a lot, I realize that. Sorry. Would you like to say anything? Would you like to make any kind of comments? Then we can continue if there is no one who would like to share.
Do you want me to continue reading?
Yeah, I think no one is expressing anything he would like to share, so we can.
For example, among man's arts, the value of the materials used and that of the art are completely different. Sometimes they are equal, sometimes the material is more valuable, and sometimes it happens that $5 worth of art is to be found in material like iron worth 5 cents. Sometimes even an antique work of art is worth $1 million, while the material of which it is composed is not worth 5 cents. If such a work of art is taken to the antiques market and ascribed to a brilliant and accomplished artist of former times, and announced mentioning the artist in that art, it may be sold for $1 million. Whereas, if it is taken to the scrap dealer, the only price received will be for the 5 cents worth of iron.
Thank you very much. But scrap dealers are the unbelievers. So the very, very interesting way of
Oh,
describing it. They are scrap dealers as far as their relationship with the world is concerned. Maybe the way they use their human feelings.
very nice. That's very interesting choice of words.
Yeah, I started laughing when I said scrap dealers. Yeah, the unbelievers. Yeah, I would like to hear your voice, not only Anne, but especially Anne's, because she read it, but others as well, what they got from this paragraph. It's a very simple but very, very real, I mean, demonstrating the reality of our being, really. Simple paragraph to understand, but really very important to take notes of. Anyone who would like to share the comment?
If I can say something, it seems to me that the materials here is the man, his body. And if that man, that person is a believer, then his belief is worth much, much more than the body that houses it. Whereas if you're a non-believer, you're not worth anything more than like a scrap dealer would give to someone who brings their beat up car in. You know, it's only worth a few dollars. The body wasn't infused with any belief, any art, any beauty, because a non-believer can't have inherent value. Something like that. I'm not sure I'm expressing it very well.
Excellent. So, because the human being is, in fact, an antique work of art, but antique. Of course, we have to think about it. Why the author says antique? This is a very interesting, I think, way of understanding the value of belief. So, as the first we emphasized on, we are not going to study what are the reasons and evidence that makes us or leads us to believe in the creator, conscious creator of the universe. This subject, the whole entire 23rd world has nothing to do with it because they have been studied previously in other sections of the book. Now, we are going to study the virtue of belief now, virtue of belief. That is important. if we understand that everything is meaningfully arranged by an absolute being, so what happens to my feelings as far as I am concerned? Now, the evidence we have to uh, notice this, we need to notice this. The evidence we draw from the way the things are existing satisfies our minds. It means we say, oh, this universe and me and the relationship between me and the universe is so wonderful. So I cannot deny the beauty, purpose in existence, in the existence of the things. As I am, for example, as a human being, I have my purpose in my existence. I know that. I am aware of it. So we say there must be a conscious creator. Is this conclusion belief? I would say yes and not yet yes. So what does it mean? Yeah, that is the beginning of belief. As if you are entering a house, put your first step into the door of the house, but you are not aware of the house yet. So we are here understanding, yeah, there must be a creator. And the question is this: whether you accept the creator that you are consciously, deliberately created or not, what happens to me? So, what am I going to lose if I don't? This section, the entire section we are going to study here, 23rd word section of this book, is going to deal with the value of belief and also how horrible and meaningless and makes the human being the laws of the law if we don't believe, if we don't see the connection, meaningful connection between me and the rest of the elements of the universe that we have studied at the beginning of today's class, today's discussion. So unless my feelings gets the pleasure, receives the pleasure of belief, and really hates, if you like, rejects unbelief, meaninglessness. So no one wants to do anything meaningless. No one, even a child. If a child doesn't understand why his or her mother or father or somebody else, a grown-up adult, tells him to do this and not to do this, if it doesn't make sense for the child, as a child, of course, within his or her interest area, he says no. How old is this child? Is 3 years old. He said, no, I'm not going to do it. Why? As far as she is concerned, it doesn't make sense, meaningless. That's why she wants to play, but mother wants to do something that not play, but some sort of small responsibility within her capacity. But she doesn't understand this. Then she says no. Why? As far as she's concerned, it is meaningless. That's why human beings need satisfaction. So, which kind of meaning belief brings into my life so that my feelings will be fully satisfied? That is what called, after understanding, realizing, experiencing that, believe in a purposeful creation and believe in the merciful creator who gave you existence free of charge as a result of his mercy. How do you feel now? Do you feel uncomfortable, meaningless? Do you still have fear of your future, or dependent on your creator and realizing that he will take care of me? He is the absolute being. He gave me free existence. Why he should throw me away after giving me this free existence and letting me entertain my existence alongside with the universe as my home? I am his guest. How do you feel now in your feelings? When your feelings are satisfied with this result and understood that really we are purposeful creatures and I am taken care of by my creator, by my master, owner, or host of this universe. If you are satisfied with it, that is called belief. The other one is rational conclusion. The first step is that there must be something, the creator. Yeah, I understand. That's why there is a big difference between rational satisfaction plus, of course, without rational satisfaction, you cannot have spiritual satisfaction, feeling-wise satisfaction. Of course, rational satisfaction is essential and foundation, the basis. But spiritual satisfaction is the source of happiness. For example, I am very hungry, let's say. I love food, that is why I give examples of food always. So I was invited to a friend's house. I'm really hungry. So the friend says, okay, welcome, sit here, welcome, and just give me a few minutes. Now, I will be busy somewhere in the next room. And I start smelling the nice food. I am hungry. As soon as I start smelling the delicious smell of the food that coming from the kitchen, I say, oh, my host is preparing the food now. That's the good news. But I'm not really eating anything. That's the good news, that my hope says, okay, you will be satisfied. Don't worry, you will be satisfied. But if I eat, feel satisfaction, that is what I believe my guest is really taking care of me. That is called belief. The first stage is just an invitation. Just an invitation, the delicious smell of the food. So, before the time is up, we have to talk about antique. Antique is very important. Why we are antique work of arts? Now, antique means sometimes in the past, maybe thousands of years ago, there was some sort of human civilization. They used to do this and that, and brings news from, as far as I'm concerned now, unexperienced world, and how valuable this civilization was, which kind of arts they produced, and how can I benefit from them? It means from an physically inaccessible place and time, this piece of even broken something, broken bowl, for example. And in this scrap dealers, it means nothing. They wouldn't give even 1 cent. But let's say this piece of iron, they may give you I mean, silver. So I don't know, 5 cents. So, but if we take it to the museum experts, and show it to them, they will pay millions of dollars. Sorry, millions of dollars. Why? Oh, where did you find it in this area? It means we have to go there and really excavate it and find out there must be people live it here, and we will find out which kind of civilizations they uh, developed, so that what we can benefit from them and see how human beings are really discovering the secrets of this universe throughout the human life history. So antique means bringing news from an unknown, otherwise unknown world. That is belief. Belief turns man, human being, into an antique world of art, bringing news from the source of existence of the universe, because human qualities or each of human feelings is a sign of his work of art. So every human being, if you like, is an antique work of art, bringing the news from the source of existence of this universe. If there was no belief, human beings turn into a piece of, as Anne said, flesh and bone, worth not even 1 cent. Especially nowadays, it costs not, we cannot get any benefit from it. If an animal is slaughtered and cleaned, taken care of, cleaned, and they can make some money. The animal farmers make some money. Human body worth nothing. So take the scrap dealers, what do they say? We are here speaking animals. So ridiculous. Economical animals, meaningless, and we are going to die anyways. So everything is going to be meaningless, contradicting human nature. But scrap dealers, unbelievers, don't value the art of, don't take notes of the antique art of this piece of metal is carrying. It's a beautiful analogy. So, inshallah, we will deal with our feelings and our human side as an antique work of art, bringing news from ghaib. It means absolute being, absolute creator, absolute owner of the universe. So how valuable this connection between my existence and its source becomes, rather than 5 cents, billions of dollars. I mean, endless. So inshallah, we will realize that we are wonderful antique work of art, and how this develops, the feelings develop within ourselves, inshallah, to be convinced, giving more and more examples in the text that we are going to read, to be convinced that only belief can I be a valuable person, existent being, valuable human being. Otherwise, I will be just dealt with scrap dealers. Scrap dealers means what? I will be a candidate for the scrap yard, cemetery. My body will rot there. That's choice is ours. We have to decide and be careful who we are in this world. Inshallah, we will continue next week. Any more comments? Anything else you would like to share with?
before we close today's discussion, inshallah. Thank you for beautiful presentation. And Feria and our friends, welcome. Any more comment? I think we should stop here, inshallah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين